run by him. Oh, and they're off. On the right side, we have Yellow Bear, who is a stuffed bear capable of playing video games somehow. No one really knows. I always sound tired. No, but really, on the right side we have John Carls, who is, he speedruns a lot of games. I believe mostly Game Boy games, but he does venture into other stuff, such as this game. It's an interesting movement by John Carls there, to be facing down left that whole way. But yeah, John Carls also runs a pretty cool speedrun podcast with Author Blues called The Frame Savers. So check that out if you're into that sort of thing. Both doing the same strat on that first key guard there. With their sword facing up, you can pin the guard between Link and the statue to hit him for a double spin. They'll be headed to Ball and Chain. It's definitely the most important room in these in the early going here. It's really difficult to do. TGH is probably going to go for an 8/ strat, and yep, there he goes. John Carls going for the pot. The pot is actually less than a second slower and much safer. For whatever reason in this game, pots are extremely powerful. Like, that one pot is worth 4 slashes. You know, I don't know about you, but I think I'd rather have a pot thrown at me than get stabbed by a sword, but hey. No. And you'll probably continue to see pots used in combat. I mean, throughout the game, really. They're very strong. Both runners are on the same version of the game, the Japanese 1.0 version. There are 2 reasons the speedrun community for this tends to play on the Japanese 1.0 version. One is just the text. Text is about a minute over the full course of the run. And another reason is the original version of the game, the 1.0 version, was only released in Japan, and it has a few unique glitches that were patched out in later versions. I'll talk about this more when we get to them. There won't be one used for a while, up until after Desert. Let's hope they get good key rat RNG here. TGH gets the best pattern where the rat actually comes towards him. johncarls not a bad pattern either, where it's hanging out by the torch. The worst thing it can do is go up in the top left of the room. It's really annoying to deal with. Can someone just ban Blunt Bunny? Both our players will be getting the Sanctuary art for sure. It's just the best safety in the game for how much it costs, especially. Get a whole new heart container for the low cost of 3 seconds. Makes the game way safer. TGH unfortunately getting hit a couple times. There are some surprisingly quick hearts in Eastern that he can get for backup. He definitely wants you definitely want hearts for a trick to get the big key in the dungeon. TGH is going to be coming up on the forced Stalfos room. If you walk in a particular fashion, though, the Stalfos try to spawn north, south, east, and west of Link. And if you enter the spawn trigger in a specific way, you get 2 of them sort of spawning inside objects in the room, so they don't even load in. And johncarls got it too, where you just get to leave with only having to deal with 2 Stalfos. And you can kill them before they even completely load. And now coming is the trick I was talking about to get the big key. TGH is going to be entering a room soon where the game intends you to kill every enemy in the room, which will trigger the anti-fairies to disperse from this pot that has a switch under it that activates the big key chest. But you can just take a damage boost to skip that. Oh, John taking 3 hearts of damage on that. Hopefully he'll be fine. This is a room you'll have to be careful in. These Aigarus can kill him in 1 hit. But he gets it done just fine. TGH having a little trouble in what we call the Zelda gamer room. We have the Armos fight. The goal with any setup to this fight, and hopefully TGH gets it, he got hit. Oh yeah, it can be tough to recover if you get hit. We'll see if John gets it. Looks like he has a good setup. Yep, he got it. The goal with that fight is to almost kill the last Armos, so that you can kill the second to last and the last one at nearly the same time. So you avoid one of them moving into that red phase that you saw on TGH's stream. The red phase is bad because that Armos will regenerate itself no matter what it was before it turned red. I think both of these players do what we call tree rupee route, so they'll be getting their boots and immediately leaving this area. In the back room of Sashwa's hut here, past that cracked wall, are 100 rupees they can get. But there's a faster route they can use. We'll get to later. Right now they need to go get the library, because you cannot actually enter the desert palace without the book. Did I say they had to get the library? They have to go to the library to get the book. Yeah, this will be a tough match for John, but anything can happen. If TGH dies in one of the tough spots to die in Dark World, like Cold Stare, could definitely swing in John's favor. They'll be entering Desert Palace here. Desert is pretty much all about your dash movement. There aren't too many really significant rooms. I guess this torch key room is one of the only ones. TGH actually going for the optimal strat there. Johncarls might do something different. Yeah, Johncarls going for the safest strat. In this next room, TGH will have to dash through some cannonball shooters. Oh, and he has to stop his dash. Oh, and gets hit on the way out as well. That's a spot where Johncarls can make up some time, if he gets good RNG, certainly. Neither player getting good RNG, though. TGH showing off his knowledge of this game's mechanics, walking low on those stairs, leaving the Power Gloves chest before starting his dash. And johncarls doing it as well. TGH going for the Desert 2's spin speed. That's a tough one. It's really easy to accidentally jump the ledge while moving in super speed. TGH will get started on Lambolas, which is a really hard boss fight. It's top 3 hard fight in the game to me. It was a pretty good first phase though. Just mistimed an arrow there in the second cycle. He should have a 3 here though. Yeah, he does. That's a pretty solid fight. I'm not sure how many cycles johncarls had here. That's definitely what good players want to get, like TGH, is a pretty consistent 3 cycle. If you get a 2 cycle, that's amazing, but 2 cycles are pretty dependent on RNG. TGH doing the fake flippers trick. You might wonder how in the world he's swimming when he hasn't gone and bought the flippers yet. This is a Japanese 1.0 exclusive glitch where if you jump into the water a pixel from the screen's edge and transition the screen right after jumping in, the game does not check for the flippers on the new screen. So you're able to swim. TGH moving onto a really annoying screen here with Death Mountain. The boulders are completely random. The dead rock enemies are also completely random, and you can't defeat them, which is especially annoying. But luckily, we have super speed to make things a little bit easier on us. TGH missing the quick warp there. Ideally, you enter that warp tile from the right. Quick warps are an interesting mechanic where there's some sort of bug in the screen scrolling and then how it aligns with the sort of warp animation effect. For every 8 pixels horizontally, there are 2 consecutive pixels that will activate what we call a quick warp, where the warp animation just moves 34 frames quicker. johncarls not even going for it, stepping on the left side of the warp. If you get them all, compared to getting none of them, it's about 12.5 seconds saved over the full run. So it adds up. TGH doing the boomerang dash, which is a very small optimization. He hits down Y and A on the same frame. Was able to get on the other side of these pegs. This means he won't have to hit the switch in the next room. That's the time he saves. TGH going to be coming up on the first bomb jump in the run. This one's actually pretty easy to do. If you've never speedrun this game, you can learn how to do this in a few minutes even. You just need to get within 6 pixels of the gap. Oh, TGH doing the spin setup. I guess you'll see the easy way on John's stream. Probably, at least. The way TGH did, it's a newer thing where you can use a sword spin to set Link up on the very edge of the pit. And you can get boosted across just standing, which is a little faster than what you're going to see on John Carl's stream. Yeah, you see John Carl's using a bonk instead. That allows him to be up to 6 pixels away from the gap, which is a pretty big window. TGH on Moldorm, everyone's favorite boss. Having some trouble with him. It's really frustrating, especially in on the last hit, when Moldorm gets on the left side of the middle hole, when you don't have a lot of room to work with. It can be really difficult to deal with. Oh, and John Carl's taking a fall. Falls to Moldorm are pretty demoralizing. When you come back to the fight, Moldorm's regained all of his health. So you basically have to redo the whole thing. And if you fall in that center hole, you actually will fall 2 floors down. So you really want to avoid that happening. But John gets through. Meanwhile, TGH is going to be doing what we call tree rupees. This is how he gets his rupees to pay Kiki to open up the Palace of Darkness. First dungeon in the Dark World. He pulls that first tree, which will always give him blue rupees. And then from here, he will kill 4 enemies without taking damage. And pull a second tree, which will give him red rupees. It's very important that he kills at least 4 enemies and doesn't take any damage. Otherwise, that tree will not give him red rupees. John also doing the tree rupees route, taking a slightly different kill route here though, using that buzz blob, which is different from what TGH did. What John's doing is actually faster than what TGH did. And upcoming on TGH's stream, we will see the red rupee pull. This entire route is only 6 or 7 seconds faster than getting the rupees in the back of Sasso's hut. And this was found sometime in early 2014. I want to say February 2014 maybe, by our very own ACMLN. TGH will be headed into Aghanim's Tower, which is actually a really tough dungeon to do. And it's also usually fun to watch really good players run through it. Johncarls grabbing the mushroom, which should be important for the safety later. If a runner takes damage during tree rupees, there is a backup tree they can use in the courtyard. John will actually be passing it soon. It's in this section when he dashes up. A little bit to the right of here is a tree. And that's a rupee tree as well. And you would resort to that as a backup if you needed it. Fortunately, there is that tree. Otherwise... messing up tree rupees would cost a lot more time than it does. Oh no, John's spinning a little bit too early while going for Din Din, and now he's run out of arrows, which is also bad, because now he won't have arrows for these red spear guards that TGH is fighting right now. Arrows save quite a bit of time in that room. So TGH and Johncarls not far behind him, really. Going to be coming up on Aghanim. Everyone get their blue balls guests ready. For anyone who doesn't know, this boss is on a cycle. The first attack will be an energy ball that the player can hit back at Aghanim 100% of the time. From there, it'll be 50-50 between an energy ball and a blue ball attack. The blue ball attacks cannot be hit back at Aghanim to do damage. And then the final attack in the cycle will be a lightning phase. You see TGH trying to deflect Aghanim towards the center of the room. It statistically lowers his work distances. Looks like TGH got one blue ball in that first cycle, which isn't bad. Still have hopes for a decent fight. Gets the second one. But only two. That's pretty fortunate. Obviously, if you're Johncarls, you would have liked him to get quite a bit more than that. Maybe pull the race back even. I think that's John's first one. First blue ball. And then gets a second right after. TGH going to be starting at the Dark World, which is the fun part of the game. Three blue balls for John. Getting 3 especially sucks compared to 0, 1, and 2 because you have to enter an additional lightning phase. Oh, and 4. It's really unfortunate for John. And 5. This is pretty rough. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 5 blue balls. The only way to fix the blue balls would be to play on something other than the original game, which is banned for speedrunning this game. It has to be the original game. If you can't do it on a cart of the game, it's not allowed. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Johncarls paying Kiki, TGH getting the Palace of Darkness big key. TGH is now going to be moving to the hammer jump trick. It's a little trick that saves 45 seconds, about. Well, probably less than that because of rupees, actually, but it's still a really cool trick. He's going to need to plant the bomb at a specific vertical position and place Link at another specific vertical position in order to get boosted over this gap. And just perfect. No extra buffers. That was really good. Typically, players are going to need to pause buffer more to get themselves in position, but TGH hit it no problem. TGH coming up on a pretty tough room here in Palace of Darkness Mimics. Let's see if he can do it quickly. Not bad at all. That top red Mimic's pretty difficult to shoot facing up without him also shooting you. You have to kind of have to guide him into your arrow at the right moment to get that to work. Johncarls going to be coming up on hammer jump. Let's hope he has a good one. It was actually pretty quick. He doesn't go for the double jump like TGH did, where TGH pulled that bomb to blow up in the cracked wall while he was waiting for the first bomb to explode. That saves a few seconds if you can do that. Oh, did John just early mirror at that key? He had to have. That's a tough mistake to have happen. He needs a small key. Meanwhile, TGH having a beastly Helmosaur fight. That was incredible. John gonna have to do hammer jump again. Yeah, this I won't say it's a necessarily common mistake, but it's a mistake everyone makes at least once, really, is accidentally mirroring or starting to mash Y before you've really confirmed that you've opened the chest, you know. Experienced runners have... I've certainly had it happen to me a few times, and you definitely get to where you really wait and make sure you've opened the chest before you go anywhere near Y. TGH coming out on the overworld here. There are a few tough enemies to deal with. That bird in particular and the snapdragon in particular, he gets past them both. You really don't want to take a hit from either of those. They do 3 hearts of damage. Gets the hammer dash across the peg bridge. TGH is actually going to be doing Thieves Town next. Casually, the game sort of directs you to Swamp Palace, because it labels that crystal as the second one. And Thieves Town's actually the 4th crystal. But it just works out much better in the speedrun to do Thieves Town right away. For one, you get to get the flute on your way, which is what TGH is going to be doing here. It's this game's version of fast travel. And also the dungeon item in Thieves Town, the Titan's Mitts, allows you to get a sword upgrade, which is really nice for making most of the bosses go much more quickly. Ooh, John needs to be very careful in Helmasaur here. Can't afford to take any more hits. He's dead if he gets hit again. Oh, man. Okay. Phew. That was nerve-wracking. TGH going for a spin speed here that only saves 10 frames. This game runs at 60 frames per second, so that's a 1/6 of a second saved right there, doing that spin speed. And that's how top players tend to play this game. They will go for very risky strats that just save small amounts of time. TGH almost recoiling into that ghost. Luckily, he kind of made sure he rubbed against the side of the wall behind him a bit. It prevents you from recoiling so far back, which saves time, and also prevents you from recoiling into one of those poses like that. Oh, TGH getting through the hellway. That room is quite frustrating. Johncarls actually got that quick warp. I'm sure he wasn't going for it. If he if he claims they don't exist, but he saved half a second. TGH doing the WQ style bomb floor strat there.